Okay, today we're going to be talking about Skip Bayless doing an interview on Pardon My Take. I believe that's a podcast or a show. I'm not familiar with Pardon My Take, but he had some very interesting things that he said on this particular show. I'm gonna let you guys know. Moving forward, this is going to be an extremely long video. If you don't like long videos, you may want to bypass this. We may regurgitate some things that I have said in previous episodes, but bear with your boy. Also, your boy is under the weather, but I'm gonna still push through. I got two more videos I got to make and make them go public. So let's get into it. All right. So Skip Bayless said he never wanted Shannon Sharpe to leave Undisputed. Skip Bayless appeared on Pardon My Take. Skip Bayless made an in-studio appearance on Pardon My Take this week, which uh, which was something different. The longtime face of Fox Sports One debater is looking to relaunch his career in another direction and has begun and done more media. I'm assuming they're talking about more interviews since he officially signed off from the network back in early August. Pardon My Take's host Dan Katz and Pardon My Take's commentator held Skip Bayless' feet to the fire on the important issues, whether debating Michael Jordan versus LeBron James in horse is dumb or not. I don't know why they said that, but I'm pretty sure they asked him that in this particular episode. They also got him to offer his expanse and comments to the date about the departure of Skip Bayless on Undisputed. So I'm assuming this is a no holds bar interview. They could have asked Skip Bayless anything, and they pretty much did. Skip Bayless said, "Trust me on this." Bayless said, "I love that guy. I loved every minute with Shannon, but we took it to a level of supreme debating. When it was right, it was on the edge, occasionally slightly over the edge." He continued, "To where we got mad at each other by several years. It's a long time, man. We had a lot of great runs. We did some big rating numbers. Trust me, that will never be touched in Fox Sports 1 history again." Oh, we need to get back on that. I'm going to read the rest of this article. But the point was that, yeah, in year 7, we did fry away a little bit. Sure, we did. But I fought for him to stay. I did not know what happened between Shannon and the people upstairs because I was not privy where he went before and I went, it tore me apart. Okay? I did not want him to go. I told him the last day I sat with him in the dressing room, I said, "I envy you because you're going to get to go and do whatever you want to do." I still had a year left on my deal. He got pushed out the back door, and it tore me up. I missed him. Both Sharpe and Bayless have been talking about their split, which is nice, but also suggests that it was public. It was never going to get to an unraveling details about the dissolval of the partnership. From the outside, it seems Fox may have prioritized the wrong star. It also seems like Sharpe is doing fine. He caught up with ESPN. He has a podcast that actually draws, that drives regular conversation. Excuse me. Bayless, in the process, reinvented himself, may ultimately catch another wave and bring him back to the level he once played on the sports media ladder. Okay? So let's get into it. All right. The first thing I want to get into is what Skip Bayless said. Skip Bayless said that Skip Bayless said, oh yeah, here we go. Skip Bayless said, we had a great run. We did some things. We did some big rating numbers. Trust me, that will never be touched again in Fox Sports 1 history. I really do believe, I echo those sentiments. And if they was also interviewing Shannon Sharpe, he would say the same. If you look at what Fox Sports 1 has done, moving past Undisputed, moving past Skip Bayless, moving past Shannon Sharpe, now they regurgitate these shows. When you look at the herd, when you look at the varsity or the faculty, whatever you call that, and Breakfast Bowl, Speak. I think I'm forgetting. Oh, First Things First. When you look at those shows, those are like they're not superstar super team type shows. They're just regular average shows at best. If you want to pull a star, if you have to pull a star from any of those shows, I think the two biggest stars out of all those shows, in my humble opinion, is Colin Cowherd and Nick Wright. Despite what people think about Nick Wright, despite people call him Nick wrong, Nick Wright is going to be the future of Fox Sports 1. Emmanuel Acho is going to be the future of Fox Sports 1. Low-tier guys that just speak what they say and they just throw crap on the wall hoping for something to stick. Is that oddly familiar? Does that formula remind you of somebody? That was one Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless loved controversy. Skip Bayless loved throwing stuff on the wall, hoping for something to stick. And Skip Bayless would say things of the unexpected. That's pretty much what they're going to get from Emmanuel Acho. That's pretty much what they're going to get from Nick Wright. They don't have to pay them a large sum of money for them to do that. And if they flavor wears out with the viewership, they can always toss them to the side, and it's not going to cost them a lot of money. They're not paying Emmanuel Acho nor Nick Wright max money. And I always said this about Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. I always said this. I always said that when you look at them two, they had a huge hit show called Undisputed. I think Fox Sports 1 is never going to have a show that will equal what Undisputed did in popularity, what Undisputed did in ratings. They're not going to find a host, or they're not going to find host that are going to equal what Shannon Sharpe has contributed to Fox Sports 1, what Skip Bayless has contributed to Fox Sports 1. This is the holy grail for Fox Sports 1. They're never going to reduplicate magic and find two hosts like that and find a show like that. I think they're going to have average shows. I think some of these shows are going to hit very well, but they're not going to hit to the stratosphere to what Undisputed did. I think moving forward, and I've said this in numerous videos, if you look at the direction where Fox Sports 1 is traveling, Fox Sports 1 is traveling the inexpensive road. They're not going to max out and just get Charles Barkley. I was hoping they would get Charles Barkley. They're not going to make a big offer for Charles Barkley. They're not looking for those superstar commentators, those superstar personalities. They're not going to be trying to max or try to get Stephen A. Smith or Charles Barkley. Those are two big, heavy names. Or Pat McAfee. They're not looking for that. They're looking for someone who knows their thing, that has a track record, that knows a thing or two about sports, that has some connections in the sports landscape, and that's good enough. If you've been paying attention to the Breakfast Bowl and the Carson Show, they're really pulling their talent from the radio waves that have radio shows, that have local shows, and they're taking that talent and putting it on a national level. That's pretty much what Fox Sports 1 is gravitating to. They're not, unless they change management or the powers that be over there, that's how they're going to travel. They're not going to do what ESPN is doing right now. I'm going to make a video talking about Cam Newton, ESPN signing Cam Newton. They're you might as well say lock, stock, and barrel with Stephen A. Smith. They're going to give him his money. They already signed Shannon Sharpe to a multi-year contract. So if you look at what ESPN is doing, ESPN is hiring stars. They're hiring star power. They're hiring people that have that are popular on social media, that have a huge viewership and huge fans. That's what they're going big. ESPN is going big or going home. And in the process of doing that, of course, there's going to be people laid off at ESPN because you're not going to be able to get those type of stars and keep the talent that you already have at ESPN. It's, a few heads are going to roll to sign one of these big players or one of these big major sports influencers. ESPN is looking for influencers. If they know a thing or two about sports, that's good. But they're looking for influencers that have huge popularity on social media. And I made a video, I want to say 3 or 4 months ago, how you could tell ESPN has really changed how they perceive or see things. Now they're looking for sports influencers, social media influencers, because they know that's going to move the knob on ratings and on popularity. All right. So ESPN is going that way. Fox Sports 1 is taking a less expensive route and saying, you know what, we'll just make these shows that are on local television or on the radio. We'll bring them to Fox Sports 1. We already have a decent audience, and we're going to make something out of it. And then we're going to keep what we already have with Emmanuel Acho, Nick Wright, and Colin Cowherd. Even though I have told you guys the future is cloudy with Colin Cowherd. I don't know if he's going to be with Fox Sports 1 much longer or he's going to do his own thing. Seems like everybody that has that are popular and have a huge fan base, they're doing their own thing. All right. So I do agree with Skip Bayless when he says, Fox Sports 1 is never going to equal the success that they had with Undisputed. And I always said this on numerous videos, and it seems like if you pay attention to what Shannon Sharpe said in his interview about Skip Bayless and Undisputed and Fox Sports 1, and if you pay attention to what Skip Bayless has just recently said, they're pretty much saying the same thing. They don't hate each other. It just did not work out. Neither one of them said that, well, I don't want to do business with the other. I always said that the reason why Shannon Sharpe is not at Fox Sports 1, and now the reason why Skip Bayless is not on Fox Sports 1, because Fox Sports 1 is looking at this, they're looking at this like this. Look, if we max out Shannon Sharpe, and if we max out Skip Bayless, what in turn we're going to get by maxing out those two contracts? Yeah, we're going to get the ratings, but are we going to be the number one show in sports entertainment? And the answer is no. Because when they had Skip Bayless, when they had Shannon Sharpe, for 7 years, they could never equal or dethrone First Take. First Take was still getting the numbers. First Take was still popular, and ESPN was still popular. Now, I said in numerous videos and live streams, Fox Sports 1 had a huge uphill to climb because ESPN is in more households than Fox Sports 1. ESPN is the darling, and Fox Sports 1 is trying to enter this situation with just one hit show out. And I love First Things First, but First Things First was not Undisputed. I love Colin Cowherd, The Herd Show, but The Herd Show was not the same as Undisputed. Undisputed was their media darling. Undisputed was, hey, we got something we believe that's better than First Take. Now they did do huge ratings. They were massively popular, but at the end of the day, they could never dethrone First Take. And pretty much what Shannon Sharpe did was, well, hey, if you can't beat them, join them. He joins ESPN and hasn't looked back since. I think if Shannon Sharpe would have joined NBC or CBS or, came back to Fox Sports 1, I think he would be popular, but he wouldn't be as popular as he would if he would have went to ESPN, because ESPN is in more households. First Take was already beating Undisputed in the ratings. If he can't beat him, join him. And that's ultimately what Shannon Sharpe did. Now Shannon Sharpe got a multi-year contract by ESPN. Okay? So, yeah. To me, if you look at this, to me, excuse me, Shannon Sharpe did the right thing. He did. Shannon Sharpe did the right thing. Sorry about the noise in the background, but Shannon Sharpe did the right thing. He exercised his free will. He exercised, I don't know why I said free will. He exercised his popularity and said, hey, let me go to ESPN, get a multi-year contract with ESPN. I can still do Club Shay Shay. I can still do Nightcap. And I can do ESPN on the side. He has the freedom and flexibility plus the money. And that was ultimately why he chose the route he chose. Now, if you look at Skip Bayless, the Skip Bayless Show, it's doing numbers on social media. It's doing numbers on YouTube. It's getting a fan base. It's getting a fandom. Is it popular than Club Shay Shay? No, it's never going to be popular than Club Shay Shay, because Club Shay Shay is more. And I told people this 1,000 times. Shannon Sharpe. When you look at Shannon Sharpe, a lot of people don't give Shannon Sharpe his props. They don't give him his flowers. Shannon Sharpe, even though he could be, has information, has connections, extremely popular on social media. Everyone calls him Unc. A large percentage of people don't recognize Shannon Sharpe's skills as an interviewer. He makes people very comfortable at Club Shay Shay. He gets millions upon millions of views, makes a lot of money on his own doing Club Shay Shay. And that is the popping thing right now. All right. So a lot of people don't give Shannon Sharpe his props. All right. And I don't think Skip Bayless is going to, if you compare his YouTube channel to Nightcap or maybe, just say Club Shay Shay, he's not going to amass or equal what Shannon Sharpe is doing on Club Shay Shay. It's just not going to happen, all right? Unless Skip Bayless gets to interview LeBron James, which I don't see that happening, because LeBron James doesn't need Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless needs LeBron James. Or if Skip Bayless interviews Michael Jordan, once again, Michael Jordan doesn't need Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless needs Michael Jordan, all right? Skip Bayless will have to interview somebody that is a portalizing figure that we all want to hear from. And it's not that many people in sports media that, is going to reach those massive numbers. In other words, Skip Bayless there's no Cat Williams in sports entertainment that people want to hear from. I'm pretty sure he can interview a Weezy F Baby, Lil Wayne, but how many people really want to listen to Lil Wayne? All right? So, yeah. That's that. Sorry about that. So, and then he went on and talked about, and we talked about this on this very same channel, when he was going up for his second contract. There was a moment where he could have went back to ESPN. ESPN gave him an offer. They said, hey, just go one-on-one with Stephen A. Smith on ESPN Plus. ESPN was at a position where they could have used the services of Skip Bayless to build up and promote ESPN Plus. They put a lot of money in ESPN Plus, and they was hoping to bring Skip Bayless back into the fold at ESPN and help and Stephen A. Smith, as well as Skip Bayless, building ESPN Plus. Plus, they also talked about how they was going to have them to occasionally do the NBA Finals, the biggest boxing events, the UFC events, maybe do Monday Night Football. You know, they had a whole slew of stuff that they was going to have Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless. Now, Fox Sports 1 matched the offer that ESPN was going to give Skip Bayless. And I also said on this very same channel, I just did not see Skip Bayless returning to ESPN because it's not the money. It's not because he didn't want to work for ESPN. It's not because ESPN didn't want Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless was in a moment and in a position where it would have been very difficult to promote him going back to ESPN to his wife. I think his wife, Hazel is the dog. I forgot his wife's name. I apologize. If Skip Bayless is listening, I apologize. I doubt he's listening, but anyway, I apologize. I forgot your wife's name. It's all good in the hood. All right, I could look it up, but, you know, it is what it is. So I think that would have been a difficult conversation for Skip Bayless to have with his wife, because his wife loved the California lifestyle. They love their California home. I think, I had her name in my head and now it slips away. Anyway, she just loves, she has friends there. So it would have been very difficult for Skip Bayless to go to his wife and say, hey, you know what? I'm thinking about going back to ESPN. We'll be going to New York. We'll no longer, even though you heard through the tea leaves that he still would have been able to do Undisputed. If he would have signed to ESPN, he still would have done Undisputed. And, you know, it didn't really require him to just move. And I just think the traveling and trying to convince his wife that they're going to New York or just travel from LA to New York, I just think that would just been way too much. And I'm pretty sure they had these conversations, and I'm pretty sure that she pretty much told him, like, look, this, you're making the same amount of money at Fox Sports 1 as ESPN. Why would you want to do all this traveling and this, that, and the third? Let's just stay where we're at. Seems like Fox Sports 1 is the better choice. They're giving you the money. You already got a platform. You got a host, Shannon Sharpe. So everything's good in the hood. Why just move? And I think, personally, in my humble estimation, I think that eliminated an option for Skip Bayless to return to ESPN. Because now, if you move forward from that decision, a lot of things have happened since Skip Bayless was let go, or they didn't renew his contract, or got fired. However y'all want to articulate that situation with Skip Bayless and Fox Sports 1, the damage is already done. You can't go back to ESPN because they already got they got a year under the belt with Shannon Sharpe. They like what they see with Shannon Sharpe. They signed him to a multi-year contract. At this point of time, ESPN really doesn't need Skip Bayless. Stephen A. Smith really doesn't need Skip Bayless. All right? That could have been easily Skip Bayless's play. But Skip Bayless signed on the dotted line with Fox Sports 1, and that was the final contract with Fox Sports 1. I don't know if this was heavily planned by Fox Sports 1, but to me, Skip Bayless eliminated his options. He had options before he signed that second contract with Fox Sports 1, and now last year of his deal, he doesn't have any options. And now Skip Bayless said something in this interview, and he's been saying this in previous statements, that he was getting real tired of Fox Sports 1 handcuffing him. There were certain areas he couldn't go into. There were certain things he couldn't say. I don't know if that's true or not, but I do remember this is the same play that he used for ESPN when he went to Fox Sports 1. He started talking about how ESPN was handcuffing him and how he couldn't go as far as he wanted to push it and couldn't say what he wanted to say. And he said that the same thing was happening with Fox Sports 1. You could believe it or not. You can say this is sour grapes. Whatever. I do believe him somewhat when he says that, and allow your boy to explain. I think, and I always said this about, hold on one second. I always said this about, sorry about that. I'm very, very sick, guys. Very, very sick. I always said this about Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe relationship is different than Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith. I think Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith are genuine friends. They spend a lot of time on and off the set. They have phone conversations. They were really friends. I don't know if they're friends now, but they were communicative and they talked to one another. And that's the chemistry that they had. That's one of the reasons why, in the heyday, the glory day of ESPN and First Take, that's why that show was so popular, and very great show. With him and Shannon Sharpe, Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe, it was different. They had chemistry because they used to work with one another. I think in the beginning, it was more of, hey, Skip Bayless gave me an opportunity when no one else wouldn't want to give me an opportunity. I'm loyal to the soil for Skip Bayless and Skip Bayless believing in me. I feel like in the first 3 years, Shannon Sharpe tolerated some of Skip Bayless, and sometimes Skip Bayless can be very abrasive. And if you don't have thick skin, and if you don't have history with Skip Bayless, it may come off as, well, Skip Bayless just dislikes you. Okay? And I think the same tactics Skip Bayless used to make his relationship healthy and bigger like he did with Stephen A. Smith, I think he was using those same expertise with Shannon Sharpe. And there was some things that just didn't jive well with Shannon Sharpe. Now, let's just be fair. Out of the 7 years, they both were sniping at one another, chipping at one another, jabbing at one another throughout the whole 7 years. And I think because they don't have a relationship away from the studio, I think a lot of those things could have been avoided or changed if they had sat down and had a conversation and said, hey, look, I don't appreciate what you said about me. Or hey, I don't appreciate what you said about me either. And I've said this with the relationship with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. I felt like, to me, there were moments when it was on Undisputed where Skip Bayless would jab at Shannon Sharpe because of what Shannon Sharpe said about Michael Jordan and what he said about Tom Brady. And there were moments where Shannon Sharpe would say things that would tick off Skip Bayless. How Shannon Sharpe would tear down any NBA former or current superstar to build up the reputation of LeBron James. And it irritated Skip Bayless. Now, A lot of people feel like Shannon Sharpe was doing that to get under the good graces of LeBron James. And now moving forward, if you go to ESPN, you're starting to see Shannon Sharpe is not having those hard stance about LeBron James. He's pretty much has fallen back some, because over there at ESPN there were people that were willing to check him. When he was at Fox Sports 1, there was only one person that was checking him, and that was Skip Bayless. But everyone was calling Skip Bayless a kook, a clown, or whatever. He goes to ESPN, tries to package that same malarkey over there. Now you got people that can check you, like a Stephen A. Smith, like a Perkins, who once played with LeBron James. So now you got a boatload of people that can check you on ESPN, and he has fallen back slightly, a little bit, on his belief about LeBron James, okay? So I felt like, personally, they should have sat down in a room and said, hey, look, this is the line, and we're not crossing this line, okay? And it would have to be agreeable to Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless. And I think that would have salvaged their own air relationship. But I feel like even if they would have reached an understanding, Fox Sports 1 was already moving this direction, like it or not. They were not going to give Shannon Sharpe a max contract. They was not going to give Skip Bayless another contract. And that ultimately what happened. This had nothing to do with if you like Shannon Sharpe or if you like Skip Bayless, this has more to do with how much money can we make from them, and is this show going to be more popular than First Take? And ultimately it wasn't. Ultimately, it wasn't. Sorry about that. And that's where we at today with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. I think I do feel like Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless are going to reunite, and they may do it on Club Shay Shay. They might do it on Nightcap. I think if you look at it right now, Shannon Sharpe, there's no real reason why Shannon Sharpe is going to make this happen. Skip Bayless needs this to happen. And maybe doing interviews like this would, and particularly what Shannon Sharpe has gone through, with the IG Live he's saying accidentally happened, and his view about black women, and he's been taking a little tumble recently with social media. And I feel like, if he does, Skip Bayless needs Shannon Sharpe more than Shannon Sharpe needs Skip Bayless at this point. And if they were going to do an interview, a one-on-one interview, it would have to happen. The only way it will happen, I feel like Skip Bayless will have to make amends with Shannon Sharpe, and Skip Bayless will have to make this happen. Because if you look at Shannon Sharpe is doing extraordinary numbers on Club Shay Shay. Nightcap is popping. He signed his multi-year deal with ESPN. He's doing First Take. So there's no real reason why Shannon Sharpe would do this. So, yeah, that's how that will happen. So, yeah, that's all I got for today. Guys, tell me what you think. I'll see you in the next video. Deuces.